Yeah. It was advertised. Let's see. Yeah. All right. Mhm. Now we gotta, Madam Mayor, I'm still letting people in, but
Okay,
we've got a good crowd here.
good. I'm glad. Jason, I'm going to go ahead and start.
Okay.
And while you continue to let people in, because it's already 11 minutes after 10. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our regular council meeting. Sorry, we went a little long on our hearing. We probably should have given ourselves some more time. So good morning to everybody and to everybody that participates. We're going to start off this morning with Bill has offered to offer our invocation. Bill.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this opportunity to gather together with our wonderful community. We humbly ask that you continue to provide wisdom to this group, discernment, and your guidance as we endeavor to do the right things for this community to ensure its long-term viability. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for us. Would also like to lift up all of those citizens that are suffering health-related problems today and ask for your help. We thank you so much for your attention and these opportunities. We pray all of this in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
What? That was wonderful, Bill.
Asking questions in writing takes the emotion out of it. That was better. But they didn't answer the question about salaries, not more than doubling salaries in water.
Yes, they did.
No, not satisfactory.
I thought so. They've added people and taken a third of some
I'm
others.
Gonna mute
Okay.
everyone. Unmute yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, first of all, we're so glad to have Bill back, that he's back with us and on the mend and feeling better.
Sure.
Welcome back, Bill. We love having you back. I want to thank quickly the Sky Valley Garden Club who bedecked our wonderful city for fall, and it looks fabulous. And to tell y'all, the Hay Bale Trail is going to be coming very soon. They're working, our public works guys are working really hard on getting it going. So enough said about that. Let's move to approving the minutes that were included in our council package from September 21st. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, Ed. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Jim. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, now for the adoption of the agenda as presented, a motion. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Okay, thank you, Jim. And second, I believe I'm gonna say is Ed. All right, any discussion on the agenda? Great. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hey, Holly,
Yes,
sorry to interrupt, but I don't know, did I miss invocation or?
you did.
Oh, okay, sorry. Who done that?
It was Bill Oliver did a wonderful job of it.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
And I needed it because his words were really meaningful this morning. Thank you, Bill. All right, city managers report. Jason, will you present the city managers report, please?
Madam Mayor, thank you. Real quick, I briefly talked on this in the last or previous meeting we just had a few minutes ago. Dustin Hensley, who was one of our employees, he recently received his commercial driver's license, his CDL. As you all know, we have some equipment that requires a CDL. We really have not been able to utilize that equipment. Dustin took the initiative. He has his license now. I was hoping to bring him here today, just so y'all could kind of give him a quick attaboy, but unfortunately he's out sick. I don't know if it's COVID related. We do have another employee in Public Works that's out right now. He's waiting to get his results. He's been running a fever and we wish them the best. But anyway, the plan is now that we have that and we have the Freightliner truck up and running, the bucket truck. I spoke with Jerry Shope this morning. Of course, now that grass cutting is kind of winding down, once we get the hay bales in place, which is that's kind of going on this week. But the plan is late this month, early next month, they do plan to go ahead and start cutting canopy. As you all know, a lot of the roads look almost like a tube right now as you drive down. But now that we have the bucket truck in place and somebody that can legally drive it, we're going to really start working aggressively to kind of clear out some of that tree canopy and open up some of those roads. Speaking of COVID, as the mayor kind of discussed in the last meeting, it did hit the city. We are recovering from that. We do have a couple of people in Public Works that we don't know if they have it. We wish them the best. One thing I do want to note, there was some delays getting the water bills out this month. We've had some calls. So any of the citizens that may be listening are concerned. There may be some extra days that are on this water bill. Your bill may be a little higher, but it should wash itself out because next month it should be a little bit less. So anyway, just want to share that real quick. Obviously, we've been in unprecedented times with COVID, but we're working through that and life goes on. I spoke very briefly about Cedar Farms Construction, the contractor. I did have one of their foremen come in last week. I am waiting on that quote, the final revised quote for the culverts. The piping is in. I'm waiting for them to let me know when they hope to start. The last conversation that I had was that it would be the end of this month, first of next month. There again, they're anticipating about a week and a half, depending upon good weather. It will be a one-lane road. The road Sky Valley Way will remain open, but it will be one lane during those replacement. And also, as I mentioned, we are awaiting a quote for Forest Court, which is up off Alex Mountain, Sky, Wildbird. Best we can tell, there's a galvanized pipe that's been abutted to some HDPE plastic piping. That piping has come apart under the road and is causing washout, and the road is actually buckled. So depending upon that cost, I may be bringing a recommendation very soon for y'all to approve that expense. But I would consider that an emergency repair that needs to be done because you do have about 3 homes at the end of that cul-de-sac. The audit is done. I did receive the final draft this morning. I have not had a chance to look at that. We have, as a staff, addressed any concerns. I don't anticipate any surprises with the audit, but they do plan to come participate on the 26th, which will be our special called meeting next month. and they'll give their audit findings. And then, as I mentioned about the Southern Road, we are awaiting 2 final easements. I am confident we will get those back very soon. As I mentioned, I did speak with our city attorney about the feasibility of moving forward, and we were advised we really need to get all those back. Again, I am confident we'll get those back and that project will be done this year. So a lot going on right now, and I will be glad to try to answer any questions you have. Also, real quick, Jerry, again, he's out with he was going to try to do his report today, but as again, we've got 2 people out and we've got some water leaks. Just ask for patience with people. Obviously, we try to prioritize water leaks, road issues. I do know we have some hay bales that need to be moved. They are planning on get to that, but with limited staffing, it makes it tough sometimes.
Yes. Thank you, Jason. Any questions on the city manager's report, council? Okay, Jason, I guess, how about departmental reports? Are we going to be able to have those this morning? I know Jerry's probably
Yeah,
running around.
he apologized.
Right.
He had a leak this morning, and I just told him, I said, obviously, with the level of service we try to provide the citizens, go take care of that leak.
I'm
just
sorry to
asked-
hear Jerry had a leak.
So, well, there's been several as of late. I don't know if it's the change in temperature or what, but anyway, those things kind of come in cycles. We've had several leaks. A lot of them have been around the condo row area, but they've been on top of that. And he apologized for not being here today. But obviously, he had to take care of that.
Of course.
And the chief is here. I will
All right.
let him, if he has anything he wants to add, I'll let him do so now.
Welcome back, Chief Estes. Hope
It's-
you're feeling better.
I'm much better. My wife's still on the mend, but that's another story.
Yeah. Well, we send best wishes to her, Chief Estes.
Yes, and I want to express my thank you to you and your husband for the wonderful card. It lifted her spirit so much. Thank you.
Did you have anything you needed to report, Chief Estes?
Well, things have been going relatively okay as of lately in the city. The latest stats for September, 26 days of September. I know a lot of people gripe and complain about writing speeding tickets on that road, but just here's the reason. 26 days of September, we averaged around 25 tickets. The range that we wrote was 20 to 40 miles over the posted limit. 20 miles over up to 40 miles over. And that's not counting the ones we could not catch going north up through Scaly. And because we do not pursue them if they refuse to stop. We just don't, because there's no help on the North Carolina side. So we would run them clear to Highlands, but we do not even engage in that. But just so people knows, no, the rumor's not true. We don't write tickets for people just barely speeding. No, they're doing 20 to 40 miles per mile an hour over. And we write a good bit of them because there's that many. That unfortunately that is true. Right now, the past yesterday and today, the road has been intermittently closed up 246 because they're bringing some ginormous equipment to Highlands coming up our road, and they can't negotiate the curves down right below the overlook. So we have to shut the whole road down because they take both lanes the things that they're bringing are forms and things like that for construction, and they're over 100 foot long. So they have to straighten those curves just to get through that area. So if anyone's asking that. Also, I'd like to remind everyone that from the visitor center to Gladys's is North Carolina. We have very little control over that. And I know there's a lot of people upset lately with what's going on in that area, primarily not being able to pull out at Gladys's because of the traffic and things like that. We do what we can, but we're very limited on, they won't even allow us to sit there with our blue lights on without their permission. Just so you know, it's North Carolina. It's not us. But other than that, things have been going really well in the city. I think we've had a good number of people coming up visiting. A lot of nice things are being said to our guys that are out in town about how beautiful things are. and people love the hay bale trail. We get lots of comments about the hay bale trail, and people just love it. So all good as far as I know. And other than that, as you all know, I've been out for a couple of weeks with the COVID and things like that. So just off the cuff, that's pretty much what's going on. But any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Questions from the council?
Just a comment, Chief. It's good to see you back and see that you recovered. And our prayers certainly go out to your wife that she will get better. So
Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
Okay, that's all for departmental reports, Jason, I assume. So we will now go to committee reports, and I'm going to ask Bill to give us a brief update on a mayoral advisory, where we are on that committee.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. We haven't had a meeting recently. As you know, I've been out a couple of months with heart issues and surgery. So we did follow up with Harrison Merrill Jr. last week to continue the conversation with them about their potential residential development here in the valley. Great conversation. You know, as you know, Nicole, we had Ed Morley, myself, and Holly on the call with him, as well as Jason. Really started to give Harrison an update on the fact that we have been awarded a $3 million grant for septic to sewer, which is a critical thing for any future residential development in the Valley area. To be clear on that, that would only service the Valley area there, you know, around Sky Valley Way. That is not intended, nor would it ever be, for the community in general. So based on that, you know, our commitment is nobody's going to pay for this unless they're actually using it. And that was part of the discussion with Harrison about their participation in the cost. He's very open to that. We have to figure out how that gets structured down the road. So we discussed the current status, and we're having to jump through a bunch of hoops right now as a city to meet the requirements to get the funding in the bank account. And Jason is working very hard on tracking all that stuff down. He's doing a good job. It looks like, if anything, if that starts to really move forward, we're probably looking at late 2023 or 24 to start doing anything with it. And those are the requirements. Also, the timeline outlined in that grant. The other positive thing with the Harrison was he's really focused on residential development. That the projects they have going on now in several areas of the country are all based on residential, and very interested in condominiums and some single family housing. So that's a good thing for us. That's the kind of accretive development we would like to see, that would increase our tax base and get us to a critical mass that potentially will help us lower the millage rate in the future as the revenues flow in from that. So next steps there, you know, Jason's working hard on all of the requirements that we have to meet for the to satisfy the grant. And then Harrison is working on a feasibility study, a scope of work for residential development here in the city. And as soon as he gets that company or companies selected, he's going to provide that scope to me, and I'll share it with the council so that we have our input to make sure that we're all in alignment of what we're trying to do here. That's accretive to the city. So great conversation. Things are starting to move forward and look very positive at this point.
Thank you, Bill. Any comments or questions from the council? All right. Bruce, could you just give a little update about your meeting that you had recently in regards to the fall events?
Yes, we met with Ken Walton, Tony, myself, and just started getting the ball going for next year's Fall Fest. Because of COVID, it's been a few years since we've had it. And we are going to be meeting with Linda Laprousse this Friday morning at 9:30 at the CBC Church to get Linda's input, because she organized several successful Fall Fests in the past. And hopefully she can give us a lot of guidance as far as vendors. Also, Jim Rhodes, I may ask him to sit in because he's done a couple art events down the hill and has access and has several vendors that attended those that he can help us with finding the right vendors for our Fall Fest. So we'll be updating you on that. Parking, we're going to discuss parking, publicity, volunteers, and we've come up with a pretty good list of events for children and for adults. So next meeting, we should have more focus on what we're going to be doing and where we'll be going. As in the past, we've always married the Fall Fest with the hay bale trail. So we'll just see what logistically how we can handle that. And I know Linda's going to be helpful. Karen, were you able to find anything, any folders for our previous Fall Fest?
Yeah, I mean, to be quite honest, because that's not in my office and I haven't had time because I've been out as well and
I know.
just trying to get caught up. I haven't had time. I do apologize, but they're not right here behind me, so I can't, not easily accessible.
That's fine. Hopefully Linda will have a duplicate copy or just verbally give us an idea and give us some ideas on the vendors. And so I think we'll be fine. And that's all I have. From the last meeting, we had a quarterly road cleanup in kind of inclement weather, but I want to thank all the citizens that helped in that event. And that's all I have, Holly.
Great. Thank you, Bruce, for all that work. All right, let's go to new business, which is to consider.
Madam Mayor, may I ask
Yes.
a question?
No. Yes, you can.
Bruce, have we established the dates for next year for the Fall Fest?
We initially looked at, let me see, the 8th, but it looks like the following week, maybe the 17th. That's tentative.
Okay.
Because the 8th is a little early, and the middle of the month, we may be able to get more color in the trees to coincide with the fest and the hay bale trail. So tentatively, it looks like around the 15th.
Got to make sure there's no conflicting other festivals.
That's always an issue.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the later in the month in October, the better, so that our hay bales will stay around longer and not rot so quickly. But we'll talk about that later. I see that Bob O'Keefe is on here. I know, Bob, that you have a meeting scheduled for marketing next week. Was there anything that you needed to offer as far as a committee report?
Much of it is just an update of what we talked about last month. We had the photographer coming up, supposed to be this week, but because we really haven't hit the peak of color, we're pushing it to next week. So maybe we can get better colorful photographs and drone coverage for our library, so to speak. So that will be happening. The Georgia Golf Trail continues to do monthly social media contacts, and I'll have more information on that after our meeting next Thursday. Georgia Golf Trail also has a hay bale up. They joined as well. An update from Rabun County is one of the things we are strongly considering and probably going to do is to have a Rabun County ad in the Braves programs next year, which would not be specific only to Sky Valley, but Rabun County in general. And the whole committee felt very strongly that that would be a good aspect to spend some of our money, which is a hotel and tax money that we give to Rabun County. As we have talked about, we've agreed to have a separate visitor website. We've hired Ron Watson of Watson Media. That's really the only other initiative that we're going to do this fall. We do have the money in our account to pay for the creation of the marketing visitor website. And we will, as I said, we have a meeting on the 27th or 28th next week. We may have another meeting in November, but early November, but we usually do not meet in December. So again, the thing that we're working on and will take some time is the visitors website. And we're saving the dollars we have in our account to help pay for that. And that's it.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you. All right, now new business. Any questions for Bob, by the way? Okay. New business, consider approval of the amended water ordinance. This is our second reading. Jason, would you kind of review where we are in this ordinance amendment process and just summarize the changes in the new ordinance?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In the first reading last month, we actually read through the rather exhaustive changes. However, I do want to say that 98% of this has to do with the inclusion of the Serve Line program. As you all know, this has been well discussed the past few months. We had a public hearing, we've had work sessions. Serve Line is the insurance program that whereas people can opt in or opt out to participate, that will cover qualifying leaks. Essentially what we've had to do is go in and remove the existing language where we as a city provide one adjustment every 5 years up to 50%. That would need to be removed, and then we have to plug in the Serve Line language and what is qualifying, what's not qualifying. That's been done. That was read in the first reading. And then the other small aspect is cleaning up some house cleaning kind of things, whereas there was some interpretational things in the past of where the city's responsibility begins, the homeowners begins or ends and begins, etc. Whereas in the past, there were some thoughts that the responsibility between the homeowner valve and the meter was the citizen responsibility. We went in to clean up that language, whereas actually it's the city's responsibility for that area between the homeowner valve and the meter, and that the city's responsibility ends, the homeowner's responsibility begins where their piping connects to the homeowner valve. So we cleaned that up, but by and large, this has to do with the removal of our existing adjustment policy, the plugging in of the Serve Line. So again, this was read in detail in the first reading. If you haven't, this is more of, I don't want to use the word formality, but this is the second reading. If anybody has any questions or concerns, but essentially that's what we're doing here now.
Do we have any questions or concerns from the council? Do we
Just,
have any?
Madam
Go
Mayor,
ahead,
I have two comments. Just
Okay.
this ordinance, I think the significant change in this ordinance has to do with the fact that previously the homeowner could petition the city for some relief on their water bills that were a result of leaks and high cost. That will no longer be possible. If people opt out of the serve line, then they'll be responsible for the entire cost of any leaks.
Yeah.
Second comment is just to give some kudos to Jason. He was spotted Saturday. I believe that was your daughter, Jason. And,
My two daughters.
and they did a beautiful job of decorating the Georgia hay bales. So let your daughters know that that's recognized.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. That we do have a citizen question here as far as when will this begin? This would go into effect January 1st, 2022, which is when the serve line would go into effect. So essentially, if this is adopted today, the existing adjustment policy that we have now will still be on the books until January 1st. So if somebody, in the unfortunate event that they do have a leak, just like contact the city, we will look at it. We will do our best to work with the property owner, but to make sure there's no lapse in coverage, January 1st, 2022 is when this will go into effect, which is also when the serve line will go into effect.
And this original ordinance said that a citizen could petition for help with a water overage bill only once every 5 years, I believe, was the way the ordinance read.
And this is one every 12 months. So if
Right.
you have if this goes into effect January 1, you have a qualifying leak in March 15th, that's paid the way it would go March 15th, 2023, you would be eligible again.
Right. Thank you, Ed.
Mayor,
Sure.
I'd just like to say that the ServLine program is a win-win for both the citizens and the consumers, as well as the city. It's an insurance program, so we all share and spread the cost of any mishaps that occur, so that, you know, our poorest citizens won't be put in a real distressed situation. In fact, none of us will be put in that situation. The city benefits because we always swallowed 50% of it. And now the insurance company is going to take care of it. So to me, this is just a win-win for everybody.
Right. Thank you, Jim. Any other comments? All right. And our third reading will be next Tuesday at the specially called.
There's just two readings today.
Two readings. So then we'll vote on it to
Today.
approve or not approve at the next meeting, correct?
Today, we actually can do it now.
We could do it now.
Mr. Kidd's here, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the second reading, so you should be able to do it today.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, Doug. All right. So without further ado, then I guess I will ask for a motion to approve the amended water ordinance as stated.
I move that we approve the amended water ordinance as stated.
Okay. Thank you, Jim. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Bruce. Any discussion? Easy enough. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Looks like it's a done deal, Jason, and we can get this going. That's fantastic. Thank
We
you
will
for
let
all your work.
Servline know. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. All right. Now we are on to other business on our agenda, which is the public forum and general comments from anybody in Zoom land. Please let us know if you need to say anything or ask a question. I don't see anything else. Do you, Jason?
I do not, just the question about when the orders will take effect. I
Right,
think we
right,
answered
and we
that. So,
yes,
yeah,
we did.
So, I
All
do not
right.
see any comments beyond that.
Before I ask for a motion of adjournment, I want to make sure that everybody knows that we do have a 6 o'clock hearing on our budget. If you all would like to, I hope you all will show up again. And if any of our citizens want to come, that will give them an opportunity for input. Thank you all for showing up this morning. And
Oh,
go ahead.
Holly,
Yeah.
I think it's important that the citizens know that they can actually speak at this hearing. They
Correct.
don't have to write it out and try and
Correct.
figure out how to get that through the
Correct.
chat. That we're going to actually turn on the microphones so that people
Sure.
can ask those questions.
Sure,
They-
they
they
don't have
can-
to, they don't have
They
to
can
type
unmute
in everything.
themselves, yes.
Right. Yeah, that's correct. Thank you, Jim, for that. Any other comment? All right, with that, can I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Thank you. Ed, second.
Second.
Thank you, Tony. Good morning, Tony. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you, everybody. I will see some of you at 6 o'clock.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.